What's up, everybody? I've got a fun segment today. This is the Box Springs full climb up in the Box Springs area of Moreno Valley. This is at the end of Pigeon Pass. So when you get up there, then you'll be on road for a little while. It'll turn into dirt and get some big steep climbs going all the way up to the top. And this was a very foggy day, so don't mind the mist on the screen. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our current KOM, who is Thomas Fuller from iSpeed. And so I pulled up his ride that he did this on, and this was a long ride actually, a 47-mile ride. Looks like he went through Redlands, looks like he hit San Mateo Canyon, made a big loop around that whole mountain. So on this particular segment, Box Springs full climb, he did it in 19 minutes and 15 seconds. Average speed was 10.3 miles per hour, and average watts were 357. Okay, so to hold that for almost 20 minutes, man, this guy was hitting it pretty dang hard. Now I'm going to speed this up times 8 to get through this section. It's not very fun to watch with the water on the screen there. So I'm going to zoom past all of this, and this is actually part of another video that I did, Peoria to Two Trees. So if you want to look up that segment, that video will have a much better look at this first part of it anyway, before the fog clears out. And so you'll notice that I'm passing up a few mountain bike riders right there. I am riding a gravel bike today, so that's why I'm a little bit faster than them. Speed past there. And we're going to slow it back down because there's a very interesting thing that's about to come up here. So, you may or may not have seen some of the donkeys on the side of the road and in the road, but if you look up ahead here, you're going to see a mother donkey and a baby donkey standing in the middle of the road, and the baby donkey is nursing. I'm not even joking. This was crazy. Okay, so you could barely see it through the fog on the lens there, but you're going to see two donkeys right there in the middle of the road, and that baby donkey is nursing off his mama. And they're just chilling right there in the middle of the road. Like this is National Geographic or something. And I'm just riding up on it. Okay, there's another donkey up there on the hill. So I thought that was crazy. So every time I do this ride, I always see a bunch of donkeys. Alright, all over the place. But I've never seen a donkey feeding its baby. Okay, so that was a very interesting thing to come across. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed this up again. And so this is all part of my Peoria to Two Trees segment video that I did. And so we're in the dirt now, going up this climb, and it's a nasty climb. It's a beast of a climb. So we're getting up to the parking lot area. There's some more mountain bikers, and we're going to cross the gate here, which only the ranger has access to. So we hop over that little log, and this is the start of the trail that goes all the way up to the M. Alright, so most people will park right there in that little parking lot, and they'll either hike it or they'll bring their bike and they'll bike it. And it starts out a little flat, but these hills get pretty darn steep. I believe I saw up to 15% on a couple different parts of the climb. So I'm going down a little bit right here actually. So I'm gonna get a little bit of speed, and then it's gonna start climbing just easy. You'll notice some ruts on the ground, and oh, my camera tilted up from hitting those bumps, so I'm gonna turn that back and tighten that thing up. But the ruts are not too bad, so you'll have no problem getting through the ruts on the way up. There's a few spots where you could wash out, just because it's a difficult grade and a little bit of a tough terrain. But for the most part, the way up, the ruts didn't really bother me. It's the way down that they really get in the way, because you're having to bunny hop like crazy over these things, and when you're coming up on it that fast, if you don't see it, man, you're gonna hit a rut pretty hard, or maybe even go in one. And that could cause you to crash pretty bad if you've got a lot of speed going into that. And I'm going to go ahead and speed it up again. You'll notice more ruts, but for the most part, it's a pretty clean road. It's nice and wide. There's 0 cars. The only time that you'll ever see a car is when there's a ranger. So I slowed it back down right here because I wanted you to be able to take a look at those ruts. Man, that's like the Grand Canyon in there, and those things are pretty deep. So no big deal when you're going this slow. I mean, I'm going 4 miles per hour, so you just find the right line and you roll right over it. You might have to pull up on your handlebars just a bit, but if you pick the right line, then you're in good shape. And you'll notice here up to 10-11% going up this section. This is where it starts to get steep for the first time, and I've still got a little bit of fog on my lens, but in just a moment that's going to evaporate and we're going to have a much more clear picture. So it's going to look a whole lot better. Now you'll notice up there around that corner, it's about to get even steeper. Okay, so we leveled off just a bit before the turn, but it's about to get up there. So back up to 9. I think this is where we first hit 15%, if I remember correctly. So yep, you can see it's going up to 12%. You might notice my watts that I'm doing near 300 watts going up this. My heart rate's 157, and so to be holding that wattage is pretty good for me. I'm feeling pretty good hitting it that hard, and that whole first section of the climb was very hard in general when we were still on the road. So I was averaging quite a bit of watts up that whole first section as well. So I was shooting for, I think, somewhere around 200, but some of the steep grades you can't really control it. So a lot of the parts you're doing 300 plus watts just in your lowest gear, just because that's the lowest you could go on the watts without like tipping over or something. So here's some more ruts. Just find the right spot, roll over those babies. And this was actually a little bit nasty. We've got a whole lot of water running off the side of the mountain there, and so that part was actually pretty tricky, because even when it's dry, I've lost traction there and lost my back wheel just from washing out. And so for that to be full of mud, I wasn't super concerned about it, but I felt like there was a pretty good chance that you could lose traction on that coming up on that other side of the rut and lose your back wheel right there. Okay, this spot gets really steep, and it's a little bit technical because you got ruts on both sides. So if you can keep your line, then you're good. Oh, we're up to 18%, 20% right there. Oh dang, 22%. Okay, I didn't realize it got that high. Up to 23% on that hill right there, which that was one of the most difficult parts. You can see my heart rate is responding pretty good to it. I'm up to 163 beats per minute, and that's pretty high for me. It's rare that I break like 170 beats per minute, so to be holding in the mid 160s, that's pretty tough. And you can see that I've been in the 300 watt range there for a little bit now, and so we're going to keep chugging up this hill. It was just at 17%. Okay. I'm only going 3 miles per hour, so you know that this is pretty steep, pretty difficult. But let's go ahead and speed it up just a little bit and try and pay attention to the ground, because there are some still nasty ruts that you're going to see, but we're going to go by pretty fast. Right there, that's a big one, and you can see the water running off. And I slowed it back down because there's another big climb right here. This turn actually doesn't look like a whole lot from the video, but it's pretty steep. It's a nasty one. The good thing is that there's no ruts on this hill really, so it's nice and smooth. It actually grips really well on the tires, and you can see I hit 400 watts there going up that 17%. Yeah, so I knew it was high. I knew the grid was high, even though it didn't look like it from the video. It was pretty tough. We'll keep this moving along, and the grade gets nice and easy right here. You have a little bit of a downhill, get a little break, you can relax a little bit, and then coming up here, just a little bit of a hill, and then you hit this sand pit and a bunch of hikers. So this is not bad going up, but on the way down, especially if it's dry, then you really gotta put that weight on the back tire so you're not fishtailing all around, especially if you're going super fast down there. And I like to bomb down this as fast as I can, and so I try and really position my weight over that back wheel just so that I could keep my tires in the ground, in the dirt. And at this point you can see the tower up ahead, the radio tower, and so you know that you're coming up on the end. All right. And so I'm gonna keep pushing this pretty hard. I got a little bit of inspiration from seeing that end right there. So I'm back up into the mid 200 range on the watts, and the conditions are a little bit different right now than they usually are, just because we recently got so much rain, and it had been raining all week before this, and so usually it's not this ruddy and this muddy. It's usually, the conditions are usually quite a bit different, and I don't know how often they grade that road. I'm not sure if it's gonna stay the way that it is or if they're going to be fixing it up at all. But especially coming down, actually, that's where the ruts make the most difference. I think going up this hill, whether the road's jacked up like it is today or whether it's nice and cleared out, I think it's not going to affect your speed a whole lot. But here we go, up this last little section before we get to the radio tower, which is the end. And you can see that it got up to 15% grade right there, and it's still going up. A little bit of ruts in the way, and I'm holding mid 300 watts, and I really want to finish this strong. And at this point, I wasn't exactly sure where it stopped. I believe that the segment stops right when this road crosses the other road. Oh shoot, we're up to 20% again on the grade, 21%. Man, that's rough. So you can see here that it's going to curve around just a little bit, and then once we pass that tower, I believe that intersects with the other road, and that's the end of the segment. So the grid leveled off just a little bit, leveled off at 8%. So you know it's easy now. If you consider 8% easy, 12%, 13%. So that's actually a break when you were just doing 20% up that last section. So I felt like we were getting pretty close, but we actually still had just a little bit to go because the road curves around the hills, around the mountain. It just wasn't quite done yet. And we will just speed up right to the end, which is right around this corner. And this is the last little section of the hill. So it's up at 10%, 11% right now. And then as soon as we get up right here, we are about finished. And bam, right there. That's the end of our segment, right where it plateaued. And you can see that I did it in 27 minutes and 21 seconds, which is a new PR for me. And you can see on there that my average watts were 235, which I feel like I could have done a whole lot better. So I actually, this morning I had kind of a heavy breakfast, and I was feeling a little bit crampy during this ride. I was feeling heavy, and I could taste my breakfast. It just wasn't a good situation. I didn't prepare nutritionally as well as I usually like to do, and so I felt like that weighed me down a little bit and made me a little bit more sluggish than I would have liked to have been. But I still got the PR, and since I felt like I could have done it better than I did, this will give me an excuse to hit it hard again next time. and hopefully reach my goal, which is I'd really like to do this in averaging about 250 watts. So I estimate that 250 watts would get this done probably in about 24 minutes or so, which would move me up the leaderboard quite a bit, which I believe right now I'm somewhere like 57 on the leaderboard. And so I think it's a stretch for me to reach Thomas Fuller and get that KOM, but something to work toward. And if you think you can handle it, if you think you could put up some good numbers on this, if you've got just a little bit of technical skill on the climbs, maintaining your balance, getting around the different ruts and everything, then come out and give it a shot. It's an awesome workout. What I actually love most about this ride, this climb, is that you get a ton of time at VO2 max without even intentionally doing VO2 max intervals. Just the grade of the hill forces you to use VO2 max level wattage. And so when I don't feel like doing like organized intervals, then this is the ride that I like to do, because it forces you into it and you don't get to choose. It will make you go into VO2 max. So anyway, this is an awesome climb. Right up there's another radio tower, and we're actually not quite to the M yet. We're pretty close, but not quite there yet. So anyway, come ride all the way up to the M. If you're on a mountain bike, you could take the single track down. It's pretty technical though. Or you could ride back down the way that we came. And I actually love bombing this downhill, and I've got another segment video on the downhill. But anyway, give it a shot. It's a lot of fun.